I met you on a sidewalk and you just blew me away.
Well, I'm glad that my fundraising was able to razzle dazzle you.
The detail in your artwork is just unbelievable. And I watch your videos of you drawing and I'm like, holy cow. And please don't take that the wrong way. I don't mean it that way. It's just your brain can't always comprehend that level of talent.
A lot of people have told me that my art breaks their brain because of the way that I work, and I work with a very small brush. It looks like I did it with mechanical pencil. I originally was trained in traditional art. There wasn't any digital painting classes. We were sitting there with a mouse and drawing things on the computer because no one had a tablet.
With a mouse.
Yes.
When I sign my name with a mouse, it looks crazy, but you were learning to draw and paint that way.
Yes, it's extremely difficult. So if I see anybody who uses a mouse to paint, it's really impressive to me because I know how hard it is. After I left my art college, I started getting back into digital art, but I tried painting, and I'm just not a painter. Really honestly say until like 2016 is when it really started clicking for me. And I started transitioning away from the painting and started doing drawing. That's when Blizzard Entertainment saw my work. And then after Blizzard Entertainment featured my artwork, it just kind of blew up on me from there.
I want to hear more about that, but first I just want to point out the grass, the individual. You drew every single, and I know you did because you talk about how you're drawing individual pieces of hair. Like I watch your videos and you're drawing amazing.
The brush that I use is a 3-pixel brush, which is quite literally if you're using a mechanical pencil. I make them such high resolution that it makes the brush smaller. So I'm only drawing 8x10, but the brush itself is almost like drawing with a mechanical pencil the entire time. And that's what I did when I was drawing traditionally, is I'd use mechanical pencils. Even with my charcoal, I would sharpen my charcoal extremely fine because I love doing all those tiny little details.
When I was painting, I was an oil painter, and I love oil paint because it's forgiving. You can blend. It takes a long time to dry. You can technically erase. Like, I think oil painting is great for someone like me, but you are drawing with a mechanical pencil. That's my worst nightmare.
It allows me to get those details that I want to get in, those individual hair strands. I actually can't draw a straight line. Like, I legitimately can't. And that's only because I have a very slight hand tremor. So if I was to take like a brush without pen stabilization and just going straight up and down, you'll see my line doing this, and it wiggles slightly. So with my style, it was actually because of a TED Talk that I watched called Embrace the Shake. And it is figuring out ways to do your art that work for your body. And that's especially helpful with being in chronic pain or used to being in chronic pain. You have to adapt to the limitations of your body, that you still have that skill in you somewhere. It's just, unfortunately, your body's not working with you right now. So you got to figure out a way to make your body work with it. If you actually zoom in on my artwork, on my, like the stuff that I have online, you'll see it's all squiggles. It's the illusion of giving you a straight line when in reality it's just chaos. When you look into it and you zoom in into it, you'll see my lines all over the place. When you zoom out, it all finally comes together and it looks cohesive and detailed and all
I just
kinds
want
of
to
stuff.
point out that no one tells people to zoom in on their artwork. Like that that's very humble of you. I'm still impressed when I zoom in on your artwork. I mean, it really is unbelievable. The human Xerox, we think that that's your thing, right?
Yeah, like, so I call it the human Xerox, and that is just the way that I was trained. So with the American Academy of Art in Chicago, they train you to draw from life for the first 2 years of school. You don't get to do anything fun. You don't get to do your own projects until you get those fundamentals out of the way. So I sat there for 3 hours, 5 days a week, with a model right in front of me, drawing what's in front of me. And what that does is that it trains your eye-hand coordination. You're able to take 3D objects and turn it into a 2D space. It's really hammering in that observing from life and putting it onto paper. Usually you get a stick like this. And when you're in real life, you'll actually sit there and you'll use your thumb. You'll line up everything with your thumb on the model, and then you put it down on your paper. And then now you have your measurement, and it's an accurate measurement. And so there's a lot of tricks of training that eye-hand coordination. And what it did with me is that it unlocked my human Xerox mode. I can look at a photo. Once I got all of my lines set up, I call it my grid. It's not a true grid. It's more like, it's something called plumb lines. Okay, so here's your figure. I'm gonna get my little Cthulhu figure. So if I'm looking at this side of the stick, I can see that the skull starts on this side of the stick, the belt starts right at that side of the stick, and then also the eye starts at that stick.
Okay. Like, I know this won't work, it's a pink Sharpie, but,
Yeah,
like, if I wanted to use something like this while I'm like, you can use that that'll help you with doing a still
that's how
life, for instance.
yes, it's a technique for doing eye sight sizing. That's what it's called. It's called sight sizing.
Okay. That's that's a cool tip. That's a really cool tip. You paid a lot of money to learn that, right? Because you went to college for it.
I
I didn't,
didn't
so
pay
I got it
for
for
it, but,
even better.
someone
That's why you did. Well,
but
thank you for sharing. That's cool. That's a cool
But
tip.
that's and what that does is that it's just training your eyes to be able to replicate what they see onto paper. So it'll like with the human face, he's even better. So the human face has a measurement where the eyeball starts right at the same length as the eyebrow. When you go down, it actually matches the corner of your nose. Your pupil, the corner of your mouth. Everything on your face lines up with something else. And that's how
Okay.
you get accuracy. It's very interesting in terms of breaking down the human body into different shapes, into more simpler forms to create the more complicated form.
See, I remember in 7th grade, I think, the measurement we learned was your face is 5 eyes wide or something like that, or
Yes,
is
so
that
that's one of the ways that they do it. So, like, with the sight sizing, they usually use head measurements. So, head, then you know exactly that they're 5 heads tall. So, on your stick, if your head measurement is this big, you do 5 of those down your paper. It's
okay.
very
You sh
neat.
you
So,
should
it's
take a
like
class. This is very cool. I think you could seriously be teaching workshops on stuff like this, like
so the funny thing is that I do actually teach artists that come to me, but I do it all private. And
mm,
that is because during college, I noticed that when it comes to critique, it's a very personal thing. And doing it in a room full of people makes you feel very vulnerable, especially when there's someone that you look up to that's pointing out the things that are wrong. And it has nothing to do with you as a person. It really doesn't. Like, and that's the thing that is really hard to tell people when you're doing critique. It has nothing to do with you as a person. Like, you're still a beautiful person inside and out. You're still an artist inside and out. It's just that some things need some work. There's 2 categories of people, people who accept that and take that knowledge and move forward and actually make their art go further. And then there's other people who take that as an insult.
mm.
And unfortunately, I don't ever mean to come off that way. I would rather share knowledge, but that's the experience that I've had with it. I love being able to help new artists because I was there once. Like, one of the artists that I'm helping, she's in India. And character and fantasy art isn't very big there as it is here. And I've been teaching her a lot of the basics and trying to make her understand digital art because she's like me, a traditional artist moving into digital, but having no one to guide her on how to do digital. She did really wonderful acrylic paintings and watercolors. And I saw that talent there. And then when she moved into digital, you could see it was almost like a beginner artist portraits. That's what happened with me. You would see my in real life portrait work and then see my digital work and be like, this isn't the same artist. When I first moved to digital, it looked amateur. It's like, no wonder I wasn't getting commissions and stuff like that. It was very difficult for me to get commissions back there, and it was just because of the level of art that I was at that point in time wasn't strong enough to captivate someone. And the only way you're gonna do that is either be really good at social media, which I'm not, or you be really good at your art and you focus on your art and you make your art to the level that people will be willing to give you money to produce that art, which is the unfortunate downfall because it's like, it's really hard to say someone, "I think your art is good. I think you will go very far. I don't know if people will spend money on it." It's very hard to tell someone that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And art is very subjective. Something that someone finds beautiful, the other person might find amateurish. You have to be confident in yourself. You have to be able to say, "Yeah, that doesn't look quite right. I'll think about this the next piece that I do."
So you're trained in fine art. Your niche is fantasy, digital art and fantasy. So was that always your preference? How did you start? Was it always fantasy or were you
It's always been fantasy, so, my drawing style was anime because
hmm,
Pokemon is the thing that inspired me to start drawing.
that's the
That
entry
was
level for a lot of people. People like really start to get into art through. anime.
And that's the nice thing too is that with anime, it's very basic shapes, so it's very easy to pick up in terms of, like, the style. Anime is one of the easiest styles that you can pick up and go with. When I started moving into the more realism, I started loving it to death. And then there was something that was instilled by my art teacher, my first life drawing teacher, because I originally wanted to be an illustration major. She said to me, "If you are able to draw realism, you can draw anything. Because if you know the rules of
That's
how
true.
things look in real life, you know how to break them so then they still look right." I just wound up switching my major into fine arts life drawing because I was like, if I can draw anything, then I can get a job anywhere I want. But the unfortunate downside of art college was that it beat out the creativity in me. And you'll hear this a lot from art college students. If you love art and you never see yourself working in a studio setting, like, Blizzard Entertainment, EA Games, or any of like those major studios, you don't need an art degree. My school is known for Alex Ross and all of the major illustration artists that came out of that school. That's why a lot of comic book artists go there. I wanted to go there because my brother went there. I was just following in his footsteps. But the thing is with art college is that those first 2 years are really beating out of you the independent creativity. Because when you work in a studio, you're not painting the fun things. You are sitting there drawing rocks, drawing trees, and drawing everything that no one else wants to do for a few years until you move up in the art department. It's quite literally a boot camp for artists to be like, you need to have this done by this day or you get a zero. And that's how the real world studios work.
That's creativity in corporate is
They
such
don't mix.
a it's such there's something very, like, hypocritical or I
Well,
don't
that's
know,
why they're trying
something's
to bring in AI to get rid of those creatives because sometimes dealing with creatives can be a hot mess sometimes.
they don't want people, like,
They don't want
how are
people.
you
They
gonna
want machines that are
yeah.
turning out artwork, and that's what the art college does, is that they turn you into a machine that can pump out that artwork in a couple days, and I can. When I was working full-time on my art before I retired, I was able to turn out a highly realism portrait in 10 hours, and, like, a lot of the older work that I've been showcasing on my social medias, like, in my stories and stuff, is under 10 hours.
So, another reason why we bonded, and one reason why I really wanted to talk to you, and there's just honestly too much I want to talk to you about, the chronic pain thing. That was something that I don't know, I think you shared first, and then I shared with you. And as someone who has chronic pain, I love seeing people who have, I don't want anyone to have it, but someone who has chronic pain who is still doing the thing. And you're very much doing the thing, but you went through a lot.
I did. My spine collapsed in 2019. I already had a bad back before that, and that was quite honestly just from years of hunching over and drawing and staying in the same spot for like 10 hours a day. The unfortunate thing was is that I got scared. I got jump scared. I jerked back and then something popped in my back and I lost feeling in my leg. I went to the doctor. Turned out that I needed a spinal fusion because I was bone on bone in my back. The disc was no longer there. So I had the spinal fusion. The spinal fusion wasn't taking, the pain started coming back. So he went back in there, put rods in there to restabilize it. Well, after the year of my surgery, I'm like, my leg is starting to go numb again. He just kind of went, you just have failed back surgery syndrome, and that I had nerve damage and sacroiliitis. I was doing pain management for 5 years. I was getting steroid epidural injections every 3 months. In 2022 is when the pain my leg was going. I couldn't sit for more than an hour. So that's when I had to walk away from my art business because I was like, if what I was told by my surgeon is true, then this is the rest of my life and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. So I have to retire. I had finally gotten to the point in 2004 to get spinal stimulation surgery. I was almost approved to get the surgery, and I went to a surgeon that my doctor recommended because I didn't want to go back to the original surgeon because of the way he treated me. And he turns around, looks at my x-rays, and 5 seconds goes, "You don't have a screw in bone." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I was like, "What? I don't have a screw in bone? What do you mean?" He's like, "You see on your x-ray right there? That screw's not in bone. So we need to get you a CT scan and an EMG so then we can figure this out." The guy sitting there doing my test goes, "Yours are some of the best nerves I've ever seen in a spinal fusion patient." I'm like, "What?" I was told I had nerve damage.
Thank
That's why
you.
my leg is
But
that's
also,
why my leg is tingling. So I go and get my CT scan. We find out that there is a screw that was positioned in the wrong position, and it was 7 millimeters, not in bone, and pushing on my iliac vein. And then that is a major vein that goes to your heart. The proper protocol should have been for me that if an MRI didn't see anything, he should have given me a CT scan to check my hardware. And he never did that. My Discord server, they are my rocks. People in my art Discord, they are the ones who have been there from the start. They saw me having to walk away from my art business. They've been there this entire time. They told me not to get rid of my Discord server because they still wanted me to have me around. For 3 years, they've just been my friends. They weren't my commissioners.
and cranking out art ever since.
Yeah, pretty much. My original goal was to slow roll it, and then I opened up my commissions, and that's where I'm at today. And it's been kind of nuts. I'm very thankful because I know what it's like to start from scratch.
The drawings you do for yourself, you donate to charity.
The art that you have is that was actually the first drawing that I did after my spinal fusion the first time. So that was actually a gift to someone on Reddit that I did. And what he did is that he actually sent me spinal parts.
He
So
what?
he sent me the implants that were for spinal fusion implants. Like, he sent me an entire kit that was just all the spinal fusion implants so that I knew what was put into me.
How
And
did he get how did he get a
he
kit of spinal
I love the internet. It's so weird and wonderful. His dog is named Wellington. He gave me a picture of his corgi, and we came up with the theme of doing Welsh folklore of that because it is true that corgis are the steeds for fairies in Welsh folklore. David, as a thank you gift for sending me the implants off of Reddit.
It kind of makes you feel like the movies, like the cartoons, the animated stuff, like Fern Gully.
I love putting pets into armor. Like, that was one of my things before I retired that I was really getting into was putting pets into armor. A little Pomeranian in paladin armor. It's one of my favorites. And then I've done a poodle with a cleric halo. I did a ferret dressed as Queen Elizabeth. I love them. I thought they were fun because they allowed me to do my high realism, but also do something fun and quirky, fantasy inspired with the realism.
I'm gonna get on your commission list eventually. Let me get through grad school, and then I will be on your commission list. You went viral for a drawing you did in World of Warcraft?
Yes, I did.
Okay, can we talk about it?
Okay, so that changed my life completely. Like, if I need to pinpoint the time of when I actually became, like, professional, is when that feature happened. So what it was is that there's a character who is a Naga. She's my favorite character in the game. She originally never had a model. She was just statues that were in the game placed randomly in certain areas. And I just loved how mystifying she was. And she's an evil character. I love evil characters. I love my bad queen. She'd never had a model, and then they finally gave her a model during BFA, Battle for Azeroth. That was an expansion that came out. So when I did the art, it was just a preview of her model. That's all it was. There was nothing in game yet. And I was like, yes, I got a draw her. 2 hours, did a quick little sketch. And this is the thing as an artist that you'll realize is that the stuff that you spend a lot of time on won't get that much notice, notice. But the stuff that you spend the least amount of time on or the things that are simple are the ones that go viral or the ones that get the attention. And you're just like, but I spent so much time on this.
No, hold on a second. This 2-hour thing is wild. Wait, I'm really refusing to believe this is 2 hours.
Yeah, it was 2 hours. I just wanted to draw a female character that I've loved for a decade. I just posted her up on the subreddit for World of Warcraft. That's all I did. I was just like, I saw Ajara's new model and I had to draw her, and this was it. And I don't know what happened. Apparently my drawing got passed around the Discord for Blizzard employees, and it got agreed upon that they wanted to feature me. So the community manager popped into the Reddit thread and said, hey, would you like to be featured? And I just lost it. Because Blizzard has been such an influence to me for my art. It helped me meet my husband.
What? How?
He was my raid leader. He lived in Georgia. And I lived up here, and he was my raid leader. We were friends for 2 years, and I said, hey, come visit me for a week. And 3 weeks later, I was moving in with him. And that was 18 years ago. We just celebrated our anniversary, so.
Your raid leader.
Yeah, my rate leader.
That's cute. That's really cute. And so how did he react? Was he super
He was
excited?
he was super excited for me because he was just like, "Heck yeah, like, that's awesome for you," and he knew that because of the feature that it was gonna put my art in front of a lot of people who hadn't seen it, and that's exactly what it did. Now, the only thing is that I did sign away the rights to that drawing. I don't own it anymore. So, I did have to go through their whole legal process of signing away the art, so now Blizzard owns that art, it's in their warehouse. I'm not allowed to touch that artwork anymore. It changed my life, especially for being a commission artist. If you don't have your eyes in front of the people that would commission you, you're not gonna get commissioned, and because I was doing World of Warcraft fan art, I got eyes in front of the people who I wanted to draw for. And it launched craziness and absolute madness. I was able to keep the momentum from 2018 until 2022. I had a wait list for 6 months. I was living the dream that every artist wishes that they could have, and I'm living it again, thank gosh.
This is not a, sales type of conversation, but when people were talking about growing their follower lists and they live off of their work, they focus a lot about the reach, but who cares if they're not converting to people who want to support you? So your
Yeah.
community matters more than the number of people, and that really goes for everything, like the number of friends versus the quality of those friends, etc. So
I'm glad that you actually mentioned that because I try to tell all of my artist friends that it does not matter if you have 200 followers versus 2,000 followers. If those 200 followers all love your artwork and all want to buy from you, those 200 followers can give you a living. And that's why, too, is that it's very hard that if you gain a following off of being viral, a lot of times what that translates into busy for a little bit, but I wasn't able to keep the momentum after that viral. Thankfully, I was able to keep that momentum and keep the eyes on me and keep the people focused on me with at least within the World of Warcraft art community that I was getting work. I didn't have to advertise like I used to. I didn't have to go on Reddit commission forms and say, "Hey, I'm available for work," because it stinks. It stinks to have to do that. And I was very, very scared coming back to art of having to do that. My commissions were selling out in 5 minutes. I would have eight slots available or 8 to 10 slots available, sold out in 5 minutes. And then after coming back from retirement, I did not sell my slots as fast as that. I knew I wasn't going to. I was actually very scared that I wasn't going to fill them at all. And because, especially with being a commission artist, you have to always be consistently posting to social media so that people know that you're there and that you're actually completing the work and that you're actually interacting with the people that are buying your work. Because people love to know the artist that actually creates their character.
it's
I tr-
easy to connect with you. Like I knew you for like a minute, and I was like, "So this is my friend."
I try to be, and it does help with the charity work as well.
How did you get so involved in doing charity work?
We lived in Georgia for a little bit, and when we had the apartment down there, unfortunately, we lived in a slumlord place, and
Mhm.
we got exposed to toxic level of molds. My daughter got sick. She was in the ICU for 4 days, and at this point in time, we didn't even have insurance. I told them, I'm like, "We can't afford this. It's $40,000. We can't afford this." And the hospital that we went to is the Children's Miracle Network Hospital. They got us into a program that wiped away the entire medical bill, so it wiped away $40,000 of medical debt. The laws in Georgia are a lot stricter than they are in Illinois. They favor the landlords more. Illinois is actually kind of nice to tenants. We had to trick the landlord into admitting that the apartment wasn't habitable anymore. But that's the reason why I started doing the charity work. It was because my daughter was at Children's Miracle Network. She got the help. They helped our family. And when one of my friends was doing Extra Life, I was looking into it, and it turned out the hospital that my daughter was at was part of the program. And then I did streaming because that's what Extra Life actually is all about. It's about streaming and fundraising. And that's how I actually raised all my money before I joined the Chicago Guild. I started doing a superhero project, and that project is where we take a kid who has a disability or some kind of ailment, and we draw them into the superhero that they design. Superhero project is basically a whole bunch of comic book artists or artists in general who want to help with charity. And we get a child, and that child will tell us what their superhero is and how they're dressed, how they're designed, what are the things that are very important for the superhero, like their superhero name. And there's an interview process that happens with the person who owns the charity organization. and the patients. She does all that, and then she comes to us with all the information. So there's a complete separation between the artist and the actual recipient.
I appreciate boundaries, like, the way you can be
Yes.
affected by that, like, it could break your
Yes.
heart, you know?
We can sometimes put our foot in our mouth by describing certain things or asking for certain clarifications on things. It happens a lot. I put my foot in my mouth, and it's just like, I probably should have worded that differently, but
Your skill level is just off the charts. You've had this viral moment that was able to change your life, and you've been able to hold on to a community even after you were very interrupted for like 5 years of dealing with the medical and then even having to retire and take a break for a while, all while going through like job loss. And then, even before that, having to like what you dealt with in Georgia and the emergency that your daughter faced and how you managed to turn that into something where you can give back even after you and your family face homelessness after that. Like that's you're a very impressive person. And I just want to say it's like wild that your character matches the art. Like your character is just like right there. Like it's unbelievable. It's just top notch.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I've been through a lot in my life, and the world is really what you make it, to be quite honest. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I did lock myself behind a screen for a very long time, but I created a world that, at least for me, is extremely positive. I would rather focus on all the good than focus on all the bad that's going on. And that's kind of what I made for myself, is it's my own little corner of the internet that doesn't have all that BS of real life.
With grief. People are going through grief every single day, all the time. You've had a lot of experiences where you've turned something very tragic and challenging and difficult into an opportunity for you. How did you do that? How do you like what's I guess like you focus on the positive, you focus on the good and all those things. What's your piece of advice for somebody who's navigating grief or loss or heartbreak or just general challenges in their life?
That's a hard one.
I thought I'd give you an easy one, but
No, this one's hard. This one's
sorry.
hard.
No, I know.
The first 23 years of my life were absolutely horrible. And there is a lot of trauma there, and there's a lot of sadness that was there. After I had met my husband, and especially after having my daughter, I knew that I couldn't continue the cycle, because it is a cycle. What you are exposed to when you're a child frames you for who you are as an adult. Now, are you going to let those things frame you in a negative way, or are you going to let them frame you in a positive way? You are going to drive yourself nuts of trying to always convince the people that you want love and acceptance from. You have to find that love and acceptance from within yourself. And you can't love anyone else until you love yourself first. Like, yes, I have gone through some absolutely horrible stuff, and I'm still sitting here, and I'm not letting it define me. Like, yes, these things happened to me, and they have shaped me who I am today, but I'm not going to let them define me as a person, because having my daughter almost killed by someone else because of their negligence, I should be a very angry person for what they did to my family. I should be an angry person for the doctor who didn't listen to me because he just shrugged his shoulders at me. I should be, but what's going to come from that? Other than me screaming and making myself more angry and more charged, there's no point. There's other ways that you can fight it, and I'm doing my own ways of fighting it.
Have those revelations so that you can make those changes
Yeah.
and now you can like share it with other people and they can learn from that. Like learn from because you've had this I don't know if it's like a eureka or just like a reality check in a
Yeah.
way.
It really is it's just there's so much that I would always constantly go back to and repeat and go over and over and over again in my head. And I really did not find happiness until I let it all go, accept myself for who I am, and learn who I am as a person. And can you wrestle it back, or are you going to let the out of control take over?
Is that gonna be the behavior now? The emotion's here,
Yes.
but what's the behavior gonna be?
It's a lot easier to stop yourself from going that path than it is to just let it go, because I very much was that person. I was spicy. I was very much this Rage Against the Machine kind of chick. 13 years to become the person that you see today, and to be a decent mom for my kid, to be a good wife to my husband. Like, we've been married for been together for 18 years. Like, you don't have a relationship that long where I can
Mm.
still count the amount of fights that we've had on one hand.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
So,
that's very impressive.
and that's the funny thing too, is that our home life is so calm, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a peaceful home.
Well, you've done a really good job building a family, I would say, like, in your family unit within the home and then your online family as well. I think you've done a great job at that. It's nice to see good people get there. I can't wait to see, what else comes out of that beautiful brain of yours. Do you have a final word or a final thing you wanna throw out there? Can be related to whatever.
In terms of social media, it is extremely hard to not focus on those numbers. But if you would rather have genuine connection with the community that you want to build, quit focusing on that and focus more on consistency.
When I started my page, all I wanted to do was just talk about comics and hopefully connect more with women, specifically that also like comics. And I don't know, I'm happy with the fact that 200 followers. I've already gotten like several free books I've gotten to read and
Isn't that
review.
cool?
I didn't expect that at all. Like I had no anticipation or expectation of anything like that. And so just the chance to get to have that, but also like I'm already getting exactly what I wanted. I'm talking to you. I'm having conversations with really cool people, and that was my goal. You can do a lot with even 200 followers. I looked at my average view time on my videos and it was like 15 seconds. And I was like, 15 seconds. And my friend was like, 15 seconds? I was like, yeah, the average is like 5 or 6. Like, this is really good.
Thank you for having me. And this has been fun. It's been a while since I've done an interview. Hopefully, I didn't put my foot in my mouth too much.
Except for that really politically charged message. No, just kidding. No, just kidding.
Toning it down because I'm an artist and I have my own views on stuff.
Okay, I don't know how to actually end a call. All right, I'm hitting stop record. Okay.